Hello, everyone, and welcome to our latest online event here at the University of California, Merced. My name is Ricky Hill. I am the e-recruiter here at UC Merced. We are so excited to have you join us this evening. Tonight is a very special event, and we will be offering several of these in the coming weeks. So tonight, as you see on your screen, it is all about admission application help. Tonight specifically is part of Discover UC Merced, the application help webinar, and the specific topic is the About You, Campus Choice, and Majors section of that application. Before we get started, let me give you a couple of quick Zoom tips. If you need to adjust your audio settings, you can do that in the lower left corner of your screen by clicking the audio settings button. To adjust the size of your window, click on View Options in the upper portion of your screen. Lastly, and most importantly for tonight, we are here to get to your questions. So we do have a few slides to show you throughout this hour event. However, we are here mostly to get to your questions. So take full advantage of that Q&A button on your screen. Send in your questions. We are fully staffed behind the scenes with fast fingers to get back to you in that chat function, and as well as a live question and answer throughout this entire event. At this time, I'd like to hand things over to my great colleague, Ruben Lubers.
Hello, everyone. My name is Ruben Lubers. As Ricky just said, I'm one of the associate directors in the office. Me and my team handle the application data that comes to it once you submit the application, and we're a good resource for all your application type questions. We have lots of different staff members here to help tonight as well. Some that you might have met on the road at your high school or other various different events and such like that. So as Ricky said, we're excited to answer your questions. Hopefully, some of you will want to unmute yourself and ask your questions live. Others, maybe you feel more comfortable typing it in the chat. We'll get to your questions however you see fit. Like Ricky said, some of the slides just kind of rotating in the background, which may be covered up if I'm showing the application to kind of show how to do something. But it's giving other information for you as well. I'm going to try and skip through them. It shows the webinar schedule for these types of webinars. So tonight, again, answering and focusing questions on the About You, Campus Choice, and Majors, and then throughout the month of November. Other webinars that we're hosting at Merced will kind of be flashing through as well. You can go to our events page online to sign up for those events if you haven't seen them already. A reminder of how to ask your questions will show up every so often. And then other resources that we have for you as well, including our PIQ workshop that we did last year. And then, of course, when we do ours, I think next week, we'll have that one for you as well. And then UC Santa Barbara has a bunch of videos on the application as well. So if you have a question and we're not available, feel free to check those out as well. So with that, we will get to your questions. So yeah.
Thanks, Ruben. Yes, let's dive right in. And again, just a quick reminder, if you're just now joining us, there is that Q&A button on your screen. Feel free to click on that at any time and send us your question. We will get to that either behind the scenes or here live on screen with you. All right, so the first one here, when will decisions be sent out?
Ooh, good question. Decisions for our campus, the Merced campus, tend to start going out early March, I would say. So very early March, and on a rolling basis, if you're a first-year applicant throughout that month of March, with all decisions hopefully made by the end of that month. If you're applying as a transfer student, again, those will start rolling out early March as well, and they'll roll out through the end of April. If you don't hear your decision early on, that doesn't mean anything. It just means that we're still reviewing your application and making a decision on it. So earlier isn't always necessarily better for your decision. It's just a matter of when we get to your application to make that decision. So month of March for first year freshman applicants, and then March through end of April for transfer applicants.
Very good. Thank you so much, Ruben. All right, so the next question here, is there a place where our applicants can find the questions for the essay prompt so they can practice in advance?
Oh, good question. Yep, there should be. If you're in your application already, if you fill out just a couple sections, you should be able to jump around wherever you want to. And if you go to the personal insight questions, there'll be a small introduction for you. And then if you go to the personal insight question area, you can actually email your questions. If you sign out, I believe, unless they've changed things, there should be a way to get things emailed to you as well by going to these various links. If you can't find it, I would just do a quick internet search for UC personal insight questions, and you'll probably find them that way as well.
And our next question, does the major that a person selects, does that have any type of impact or make a big difference on whether or not they're accepted?
Ooh, good question. For our campus, no. For first-year applicants, I'll say, for first-year applicants, no, major does not matter. We will admit you directly to your major, so you will be admitted to the major that you apply for, but we're not looking at that when making our selection decisions. For transfer students, on the other hand, it will make a difference. Each one of our majors are selective at the transfer level, which means we're looking to make sure you've completed all the major selection coursework that we require in order to admit you to that major. So if you're applying for psychology, that we're looking for different courses than if you're applying for biological sciences, as an example. So major does matter for transfer students, not so much so for first-year students.
Very good. And then a popular question that is being sent in. So the free application for the fee waiver was not working. And even after clicking that and trying to see what's wrong, if they can still fit in with the qualification. So I think that's a popular question that's coming in, something about that link isn't working.
Not sure what link you might be looking at. But when you're in here on the campus and majors and you're selecting your campuses, you will get information about the fee waiver here, if you qualify or not. And if you're talking about this link here, your household page information, by clicking it, it should send you to the household information in the About You area to review the information that you put in this section. The size of your household, the income that you have, that's really what we're looking at to determine if you qualify for the fee waiver or not. Citizenship may be something else that you want to look at. So the fee waiver is not available to international applicants. So if you've selected anything besides United States and no selection for the citizenship question, so if you chose, I don't know, Ricky, what country are you going to pick on today? Venezuela. If you chose Venezuela, then that most likely would disqualify you from the fee waiver as well. So make sure your country of citizenship is correct and accurate, and then make sure that household information is correct and accurate as well for the best option to qualify for the fee waiver.
Wonderful. The next one here. Do we need to make a new UC application account to apply as a transfer besides the account that we have made during applying in high school? Or do we just make a new application under the same account?
It's probably better to make the application of the same account. So you can see here in my application, I have one for the winter quarter of 2023, which is coming up in January, and one for fall 2023. So you can have multiple applications under the same application account, and it'll even save you a little bit of time because some of your personal information may be filled out from the last time you've applied, and you just need to update that where needed. So same account would work if you have access to that email address still, and that's probably the best option.
Perfect. The next one here. So Merced has the SJV BS to MD program. How do we select this on the application?
Ooh, good question. Let me get to the major section real quick for you all. So yeah, new this year, the BS to MD program, SJV Prime Plus program at Merced. If you're not aware of it, there'll be a link here in the application that'll show you where you can find out more information about it. But you can see here, I've selected one of the BS to MD options already on my application. So when you're selecting your major, there are several ways to look at majors. You can go by category, which is the way that Merced defaults our majors. And if you pull up, because you're interested in medicine, maybe you pull up the health professions area, you'll see all the BS to MD options that we have if you're interested in that program. You see here that it does require a supplemental application, which will send you information from our campus after you submit your application. You'll receive information on how to submit that supplemental application. If you select it, there's quite a paragraph to read through with the link there to find out more information about the program. So before you actually submit your application, you can read about the program, see if it's a program that's fit for you. It is quite a time commitment, which you'll see here. It says 11 years, which is your undergraduate program, your medical program and residency and all that other stuff it takes to be a doctor. So it is quite a time commitment and may not be the best program for all students, but it is a great program nonetheless. So you'll see all those options there. If it does not say with SJV Prime Plus, then that's just a normal major, which is fine. We also, if we go up here to health sciences, biological sciences, you can see here that we have, some bioengineering options, and then some biology options, some with the BS to MD option and some without the BS to MD option. So you can still select both.
Perfect. Now moving into that application and the PIQ section, we're getting several questions that are specific to the PIQs. One in particular, what should be recommended while answering the PIQ? Do we have general advice that we can offer tonight?
Ooh, tonight, probably not. That's a whole nother hour or 2 or 20 on its own. But let me skip through here. I'll try and keep this on this slide. If you want to scan that QR code right now to the left about the PIQ workshop, this is the workshop that our team put together last year for you. You can watch that, and that gives a lot of tips about the PIQs from the Merced campus. And then going back, I'll go back to that slide in case you didn't get your camera out in time, get it handy. But you can see here on November 2nd, so what is that, next Wednesday, Thursday, if I have my dates right? Next Wednesday, I believe it is, we'll have another webinar that you can go to learn more information about the PIQ. So if you're not already familiar with it, and next time we have this, I'll have a QR code on the slide for you all to click on as well. I didn't think about it for this slide, but go to our events page and sign up for that event. Maybe someone can throw that in the chat for people, our event sign up page, where you can sign up and register for that PIQ workshop next week. Learn all the tips and tricks about that as well.
Thanks, Ruben. And also thanks to Amy. She's behind the scenes for us tonight, and she went ahead and dropped that link into the chat. So if you don't already have that chat box open, go ahead and open that now and click on that link. It should pop open for you in another browser, and you can bookmark that for later and take a look at some of those dates for the upcoming events. And there's also links there that you can click on to get yourself registered, as well as instant replays. After a couple of days of these events, we get those up on YouTube and we link them to that page as well. So it's a really important page to have bookmarked. And then also, as Ruben mentioned, go ahead and keep your smartphone close by. You do see these slides moving by as we're talking kind of over them. Feel free to take some pictures of these or screenshots. That way you have that information for future reference. And don't worry if you missed one, they're going to be cycling throughout the event. So you're all set. You'll be able to see those again. All right, Ruben, can we talk a little bit about dates and deadlines? One here, questions coming in. When do we have to submit our transcripts?
Oh, that is a good question. At the time of submitting your application in either October or November, you don't need to submit any transcripts to us. So really all you need to worry about for these next couple months is your undergraduate application. I'll throw in the FAFSA or DREAM Act application in there as well, so you can get an early start on that. And then maybe some scholarships, submit some scholarships. But for the UC application, just submit that, no transcripts needed or anything like that. Once you're admitted to a campus and you decide to attend that campus, so let's say you're admitted to Merced and you decide to attend Merced, we'll give you those deadlines, which is going to be over the summer after you've graduated. Usually July 1st is the deadline to get transcripts in. Again, at almost the very end of the process, you submitted your application, you've been admitted, you've decided to attend, then you start submitting documents like your transcripts and any exam scores, AP exam scores that you have, and such like that to our campus.
Great. The next question, how does the UC statewide ELC guarantee work?
Another good question. So ELC, or eligible by the local context, if you're not familiar with what ELC stands for, means that you're in the top 9% of students graduating from your high school. And it does need to be a participating high school. So not every high school in California participates in ELC, but most do. So that means you're top of the top at your high school. And that means that you are eligible for the University of California and that you will receive an admissions place at one of the UC campuses. So If you apply to, let's say, 2 campuses, and those campuses do not admit you, but you are ELC, then another UC campus will most likely send you a letter saying, hey, are you interested in coming to our campus? For the last several years, that campus has been the Merced campus because we have the capacity and we think we're an awesome opportunity for all Californians to attend. So if you choose not to apply to Merced, which would make me and Ricky very sad, and you're not admitted to any campus to which you applied to, and you are ELC, or another pathway is the statewide path, both paths are very similar, then you might get a letter from the University of California asking if you want to add Merced to your application later. There are some drawbacks to this. You wouldn't be eligible for the BS to MD program if that's a program that you're interested in. So you do have to apply directly to our campus for that. Similarly, with the Regent Scholarship that we have, you need to apply directly to Merced during October, November, to be eligible for that scholarship and maybe other scholarships we have. Because the referral pool process that you're asking about, that doesn't happen until April. So it's a very late process. And you do miss some deadlines for the campus that you might end up enrolling at. So if you're interested in Merced and the programs that we have, then we do recommend you not rely on the referral pool and you apply directly to our campus.
Thanks, Ruben. And I do see several questions coming in about general information regarding our GPA requirements. And one is asking, do UC applications take weighted or unweighted GPAs? Can you touch on that?
Yeah. So in terms of GPAs, we don't ask you for your GPA in the application. And there's a reason for that. One, we don't want you to calculate it wrong. Two, there's not a specific GPA that we may or may not use in a review process. So the most common GPA that campuses are using, including ours at Merced, is what we call the UC calculated A through G GPA. So that's the GPA calculated from the UC approved A through G courses, or if you're out of state, courses like history, math, and those other academic areas. But we'll calculate that ourselves. So in the selection and review processes, campuses may use other GPAs that they calculate. So weighted means that we're giving you points for any approved honors courses. So instead of a 4-point for an A, you get 5 points for an A. So that's a weighted GPA. Capped means that we're limiting the number of those honors courses you're allowed to take, whereas uncapped means you can have as many of them as you want. So there's all kinds of GPAs. I have a whole another hour-long presentation on GPAs alone that I've given the faculty before. You all don't want to hear that one. It's a little bit boring, but there's lots of different GPAs. All we ask for in your applications is to list the courses that you've taken and the grades, the final grades that you've received for those courses. And we'll look at all those different GPAs that we may end up looking at.
Perfect. Now we have a question coming in from an international student. So I'm an international student, but I'm also a US citizen. What effect could this have on my application?
Ooh, good question. If you're also a US citizen, then of course you want to answer the citizenship correctly. As an international applicant, or I'll say a student with international education, let's say, the effects may be, of course, your residency. So your tuition cost may be different. So you'll definitely want to go through the statement of legal residency process to determine if you'll be considered a California resident or not a California resident. Again, the fee waiver that's available in the UC application is not available to true international applicants. So if you're going to be here on a visa or anything else, or you say your country of citizenship is not the United States, you may not be eligible for the fee waiver. True international applicants, again, they would need to study here on a visa, would most likely have to pay $80 per campus as opposed to $70 per campus. And then, of course, in terms of admissions requirements, the GPA is between a 3.0 for California residents, that's the minimum, or for non-California residents, whether you're an international applicant or a domestic applicant outside of California, we require a 3.4 GPA. So those are just some of the differences I can think of depending on what your residency would be. But again, if you're joint resident or citizenship, sorry, you have citizenship both in the United States somewhere else, then some of those may not apply to you.
Thanks, Ruben. I want to take a quick pause here and just offer our audience a moment to, again, go ahead and send us those questions through the Q&A. We're getting so many amazing questions, but keep those rolling in and we will continue to get to those. And as we pause for just this moment, let me give you a couple of fun facts as well that I can share. For the past 3 consecutive years, UC Merced has been ranked in the top 100 national universities by US News and World Reports. I'm not sure how many of you knew that. The campus has also ranked number 13 for economic diversity. As an HSI or Hispanic serving institution, UC Merced has the highest percentage of Pell Grant recipients in the UC system. That's a 60% percentage of our undergraduates that are receiving the federal financial aid program for low-income families, the 60% of our undergraduates. It's amazing. So we're also ranked number 1 for public university for financial aid awarded to our first-year students. We will receive the same world-class education that we're offering to you and the quality experience, but at a very affordable cost. We are also number 1 in the nation for student outcomes and number 1 among public universities in outperforming expected graduation rates. Each year, our number 1 status comes in different areas, and we're so excited to see where we head next. So at this point, we can go ahead and dive back into some questions that are coming in. And again, quick reminder that Q&A button is available for you on your screen, so you can go ahead and use that to send in your questions. All right, Ruben, let's see what else we have here. So we do have some other questions coming in about students who are retaking courses. And let's see, this one here is letting us know that if I'm retaking a class, how will the UC see my second term grade?
So if you're retaking the class now during your senior year, how will we see that second semester grade? We probably won't until you graduate and you finish this last year of high school or community college. So what we're going to do is we're basically going to admit you under the assumption that you're going to pass that second semester with a C grade or better. When you're admitted, you'll be provided a contract. Basically, we call it your conditions of admissions, and those will be numerous things that you need to do to keep that admissions offer. You'll want to read through that because I say C grade or better, but another campus you're admitted to may say B grade or better. So when you're admitted, definitely look at that contract, those conditions of admissions, and those will tell you exactly what you need to do to keep that admissions offer, whether it be hold a 3.0 GPA your senior year, get all C grades or B grades or better, anything like that. So we'll see that you're retaking that second semester. We'll take that under consideration. And if you're admitted, you'll just need to follow those conditions of admissions and make sure you get whatever grade that you're contracted to get, sort of thing. So again, we won't actually see the grade, but we'll see that you're taking it and we'll assume that you'll pass it with the grade that we want to see you complete it with.
Wonderful. Now we have a lot of questions coming in and a ton of interest in the Prime Plus program. This latest question, is it better to choose BSMD Prime Plus for major or alternative major, or should I pick a different alternative major?
Ooh, good question. Now, for Merced, the Merced campus, it's really rare that we move a student to their alternate major. I think I've seen it happen maybe 3 times. And I've been doing a similar job to mine since 2012 for the campus. So for 10 years, I've only seen a student move to their alternate major very, very few times. So for our campus and Merced especially, you want to put the major that you're seriously interested in studying as your primary major. For the BS to MD program, how that works is, let's say you choose this developmental biology option right here in BS to MD. That means for your undergraduate program, so our office, we're going to be considering you for that human biology major. Not even connected to BS to MD. We're just going to be worried about the undergraduate major that you're selecting. That's what we're going to review your application under. And like I said earlier, we're not even really looking at your major for the undergraduate program, right? We're just looking to see if we want to admit you regardless of your major, but we would admit you to that human biology major. The fact that you're applying to the BS to MD option means that a copy of your application and the supplemental application that we'll send you will be sent to the SJV Prime Plus program for them to review. And they'll be reviewing that at the same time our office is reviewing your undergraduate application. So we'll admit you to the major that you select on the application. If we admit you, you'll be admitted to that major. And then after you're admitted to the undergraduate program, you'll find out if you were selected for the SJV Prime Plus program. So I hope that makes sense. That option means your application split into two, one for the major that you selected as an undergraduate, and another copy of it for that SJV Prime Plus program.
Excellent response. Thanks, Ruben. This next question is coming into us from a first-year student. If my parents are divorced, which household do I put the information on the about or in the about area for the application? So the address, the household size, which parent would they use? Yep.
For that, we're going to recommend that you put the household that you spend most of your time on. If you're not already, if anyone on the webinar is not already familiar with this help button in the upper right-hand corner here, you definitely want to become familiar with that. It will change based on the section that you're on. So right now we're on the your household section. And the very first question, I believe, is a version of your question, right? You live at 2 different addresses. What address should you put, right? You can kind of apply that to lots of different information in this section. Which one are you spending most of your time with, or which one's supporting you the most, sort of idea. So use that help section if you're not familiar with it. But for your question, again, use whichever family or household you're spending the most time with, or you feel supports you more. If it's 50-50 straight down the middle, and they both support you equally and all that, then recommend just putting the household that, put them on a coin, flip it, just kind of decide which story you want to tell us in your application.
Excellent. This next question is coming in from a transfer student. They are asking, do transfer students still need their high school transcript?
For that, I'm going to throw out an answer that you probably hear from the University of California way too much. It depends. If you're applying as a lower division sophomore level applicant, so less than 60 transferable units completed by the time you finish community college, not right now, but by the end of the spring semester, you're going to have less than 60 units and you're applying as a lower division transfer, then we will ask you to input your high school coursework information in the application. Again, no transcripts needed at this moment. You'll need to self-report everything on the application. If you're a junior level applicant, then we won't ask you to input your high school information into the application. But when you're admitted over the summertime, you'll probably find that most campuses are asking for a copy of that high school transcript. There's actually a university graduation requirement that you can satisfy with coursework from high school. At the Merced campus, we have a language other than English GE requirement that can, a part of it, if not all of it, can be met by high school language courses that you've taken. And then also the American History's institutions requirement that's at all UC campuses can be met with history courses you've taken in high school as well. So you probably will find that campuses ask for your final high school transcript, no matter what level you're applying for, just to help you graduate a little bit sooner from our campuses. But in terms of the application, again, junior level, you wouldn't need to report that information.
Perfect. And then moving into the minor area, if someone would like to declare a minor, where do they do that?
Ooh, good question. Minor wouldn't be established until you're actually at the campus you decide to attend. And then at that moment, you'll be, so once you submit what we call your SIR or statement of intent to register, or you deposit at our campus, at the Merced campus, slightly after you do that, so usually April, May timeframe, you'll start getting information from your academic advisor. Usually they introduce themselves, et cetera. And at that point is the point that you'll start working towards either a double major or a major and a minor. Of course, there's no rush to doing that. You have lots of time, especially if you're an incoming freshman, kind of declare a minor and such like that. But you can start taking courses from your minor, working with your academic advisor pretty early on in your career. So that'll all be handled after admissions. All we're going to do is review your application for your primary major.
Very good. And I know earlier we had someone write in about a PIQ. They had questions about that. And I do see a few more coming in. General questions about essays. So this one says, what was your most memorable essay that you have read? Is that something we can talk about tonight, or shall we keep everything essay related with the PIQ event?
I think we'll leave that for it. Let me fast forward to it. So, because I was able to add the QR code.
Fantastic.
And if it's not working, let me know, because I did that real quick. But yeah, I would sign up for that November 2nd thing. They'll probably be talking about all the PIQs that they've read and such like that. Just to answer your question real quickly, not spend too much time on the most memorable one I've read was about brownies, but maybe that's a little bit biased because I like brownies.
I think that could be one of mine also, actually, especially if you're hungry. Okay, let's see what else we have coming in here. Okay, so this is a good one here. So if we received a school email saying that we are ELC eligible, when will we know if we actually have the ELC status? This person is stating that they have submitted their application already, so they're hoping that we can let them know.
Okay, I don't have a submitted application ready to show you, but any email that you've received saying you're ELC most likely was just an email letting you know that you're the top at your high school, maybe the top 15%, or you're a student that we're highly encouraging applying to the university based on where you're at in your high school. But the university doesn't send an email out saying that you are ELC. Again, if your high school sent the email, maybe they're sending something out to their top students, letting them know. So if you did get an email from the University of California or your high school, you're probably still the top of the class at your high school, but there are other requirements that need to be met for ELC. You need to have so much of your math taken by the end of your junior year, so much of your English taken by the end of the junior year. So it's not based on class ranking or just GPA alone. So there are other qualifications that need to be met. To check it, when you log into your application and you hit application status, you should see some options under the fall application. So instead of this being clickable, you should see several links. One of those, I believe, I might need Paul to throw in the chat what this is called, but I think it just says like check my admission status or something. And when you click on that, you'll see the list of campuses you've submitted your application to and the date it was forwarded to them. And if you are selected for ELC or statewide or anything like that, you should see a message on that page, just a little tiny message that says you qualify for ELC or something. So yeah, you can log back in your application, and it may not be immediate. It may take a few days. So maybe give it a week, let's say, log back in, check that status. And if you were selected for ELC, you should see that banner. If you have any other questions, I would probably recommend contacting the application center. So I will jump ahead to their contact information. So you can call them or you can send them an email because they would have access to that sort of information to let you know, maybe confirm that the message you're seeing, that you should be seeing it, or be able to explain to you maybe why you weren't considered ELC at that point, or maybe they're still calculating it, sort of thing.
Perfect. And then I have also seen this as kind of a repeat or a themed question tonight. How are folks supposed to show their ties to the San Joaquin Valley or the Central Valley when they're looking into that BS to MD program?
I don't think we have a definition of ties. We're really letting the applicants define that for us and show that to us in their application. So I know tonight's not about the PIQs, but when we do look at let me pull it up for you all real quick.
I think part of the question, at least in some of these, is they're asking how do they show that or where do they show that? Is there a particular question or a place, some place that they can type in what the ties are?
Yeah, so that'll mostly be done in your supplemental application that we'll send you after you submit your undergraduate application. So most of your undergraduate application is just going to be your activities in high school, all that stuff that we'll be covering kind of as the months go on, and such like that. After you submit your undergraduate application, and if you've submitted already, we're still working on this process. So once it's ready, we'll send it to you. But But the supplemental application will consist of additional questions that you'll need to answer that will help do that. Now, I will take a moment just to say that if you answer on your application, your undergraduate application, PIQ question 1 about leadership, PIQ 3 about your talent, and PIQ 5 about your most significant challenge, those responses you submitted with your regular undergraduate application will be brought into your supplemental SJV Prime Plus application. You can edit those, or you can leave them exactly the same and submit it. So you'll be answering maybe 5 questions if you've answered these 3 already, or you can answer all 8. So that supplemental application will really be an additional place for you to tailor those responses to that program.
Very good. Thank you so much. And then we do have some follow-ups as well to that fee waiver question we had early on. Folks that are having issues with that, if they go through everything and they fix any little mistakes that they may have had, is there someone that they can reach out to?
Yep. They're going to want to reach out to the application center who handles all of the payment inquiries. You can email them or you can call them, and they can let you know kind of what they see on your application side. Maybe it is that citizenship question that you don't qualify for the fee waiver. Maybe it's family size or income or something like that. They can definitely let you know. They can also explain to you if you have a College Board fee waiver or any other type of fee waiver, if they'll accept it and how to submit that to them as well. So this application center that's being shown on the screen now, you can get that. It's on that help section that I talked about on the application. I don't know where my application went. That's right. Moved it there for the SJV Prime Plus. If you ever need their contact information, just log in your application, click that help button that we talked about, and their contact information is at the bottom of every help section on the application. Or if you're not logged in, just scroll maybe halfway down the page and their contact information is there as well. But any payment questions, we'll probably hear this at the end of November when we're on the review and submit portion of it. But fee waiver questions, all that, they can help answer those.
Perfect. Thanks, Ruben. The next question coming in, if a college that provided a pre-college summer course, if it didn't have any type of grading system, so they didn't get a grade, should they put in A when answering that grading system question? And they took this during high school.
Yeah, it's quite unique that a high school program wouldn't have any grades associated with it. I would want to ask maybe what type of course it was to see if it was an A through G type course, or if it's just kind of like a leadership program course or something like that. Yeah, that's an interesting one that I might not be able to answer live tonight. We might need more information on that. So for that, I'm probably going to ask you to email the admissions office with that question. So admissions.ucmerced.edu. Amy, if you can throw that in chat. Maybe you can provide us a little bit more detail and we can get that answered for you. But I will say this much, most grades we want to see on the UC application are going to be your usual like grading system that your school would be on. So I want to say like A through F grades, because that's what most schools are on, but some schools are on a numeric system and such like that. If you took a course for pass, no pass, and it's outside of the pandemic COVID timeframe that we have, then most likely it's not going to be a course that we'd be interested in. But that's not a for sure answer. So definitely email us with more information and hopefully we can get back to you with an answer.
Excellent. Okay, this next question. The application is telling one of our applicants that the Enye in her name is a special character and that they can't use it. What is something that they can do about that?
Oh, yes. Special characters, I'm not sure they can do anything with it at the moment, at least to apply with the undergraduate application. They may need to wait until the campuses get their application and send them an acknowledgement saying that they received their application. And the campuses may be able to fix that on their end of things. But I'm not sure. I don't work for every campus, obviously. I work for Merced. And honestly, I'm not even sure if our system would accept an Enye. I think it does. Paul can correct me if I'm wrong because he's closer to this than I am. But yeah, the campuses may be able to fix that locally on their end after you've submitted your application.
Perfect. And what's the difference between the section colleges attended in high school and college courses taken in high school? Do they put the same thing in both sections?
Okay, they're talking about this section here. We'll definitely get more into this in the academic history section of the application. But the colleges attended while in high school is just, you'll just add the colleges that you've attended. So if you only attended one college, you'll list one college. If you've attended 3 colleges, you'll list the 3 colleges. And then the courses is where it'll actually list the courses you took at those colleges. Very similar to the high school section where we ask you to add your high schools first, and then you go grade by grade and list the courses. Except for there, we just list grades 9 through 12 instead of courses taken while in high school. So you list the school first, and then you list the courses you took at those schools.
Very good. And is it true that choosing a less popular major will increase acceptance rates? And is there one that you would recommend?
I will answer for Merced, and you may need to email other campuses you're interested in applying to, because this definitely varies campus to campus. But like I've said, for the Merced campus, for first-year students, first-year freshmen, list whatever major you want to, undeclared, biological science, whatever. We're not looking at the major when we're selecting if we want to admit you or not. We do admit you to the major that you've chosen, but we don't look at it when deciding things. So at Merced, any major you choose gives you the same chance of being admitted. But I do know at other campuses that may not be exactly the same. So I would definitely contact those other schools to kind of see what they recommend. And then they might also have different recommendations on your alternate major too, right? So let's say they're selecting by their school or college. So College of Engineering. If you select 2 engineering majors, you're not really increasing your chances of being admitted because both of your majors are in the same college. But again, contact them, see what they recommend at Merced. We rarely go to the alternate major. We're not even looking at your major when we're reading your application and deciding to admit you or not.
Excellent. And how do college classes taken through dual enrollment count?
Good question. Exactly the same as college courses not taken through a dual enrollment program. So since they are college courses, even if you took them on your high school campus, if they're a college course, they're a college course, you would add the college that you attended, and then you would list the course that you took at that college or colleges in the college section. Since it's a college course, you would list it there. And then your high school courses that you've taken, you list in high school. Dual enrollment isn't really a UC thing. It's more of your high school thing, saying that they're going to allow those college courses you're taking to meet their high school graduation requirements. At the UC level, we're going to look at high school courses and college courses. And we're going to ask you to list them in those appropriate places.
Very good. Thanks, Ruben. All right, let's see other questions that we have coming in here. Oh, this is a great one. How do we start the UC Merced application? Where do they start?
Oh, awesome. Let me sign out here. So I'll ask someone to maybe throw this in the Q&A, the General University of California application website. So it is an application for all 9 undergraduate campuses in one place. So you'll see that it's not necessarily a UC Merced link. It's a University of California link. And right here, 9 campuses, 1 application. You can start just by creating an account. So if you click this link, it'll ask for kind of your email address. We do recommend that you use an email address you'll have access to throughout the rest of the year, pretty much through the end of next August or even September. So you need access to this email for a lengthy amount of time. For that reason, we don't recommend you use an email attached to your school that you're currently attending, because if you graduate or finish at that school in May, they may deactivate that email account, and then we have no way to communicate with you. Most of our communication is done through email, so that's why email is important. So again, create an account, choose an email that you'll have access to throughout the whole application process, including next summer. Create a password, and that will create your account. You do need to read and kind of agree to some guidelines here in terms of use stuff that I think is typical to most websites that you would be signing up for. Once you create an account, it'll kind of take you through the next steps, right? Like, what term do you want to apply for? Most students right now are interested in applying for the fall 2023 application. So you'll want to select that option. During the month of October, you may be able to start a winter quarter application, or I'm sorry, spring quarter application. You probably don't want to start that because I don't know many campuses accepting spring quarter applications. But yeah, so create an account, create a new application. That's what this website will look like here. So again, spring quarter, you probably don't want to select that one. That's the only one I have available because I already started a fall one. So you may have fall 2023 and spring quarter 2023. And then what level are you applying for? And then you can kind of start the application.
Fantastic information, Ruben. Thank you so much. Once again, I'd like to take just a quick little pause here to remind everyone that we do have that Q&A button available. Keep sending those questions in. I know we have a lot still to get to, but that doesn't mean you can't send yours in. We do have some that are duplicates too, so we are trying to sort through those as well. While we take this pause, I also just want to share some insight that I can share with you here. While we are the newest UC in the system, we are blazing trails and climbing the charts. UC Merced's focus on undergraduate research offers a truly singular experience. In fact, UC Merced was ranked number 11 among public universities and number 1 in the UC for student participation in undergraduate research and creative projects. We can definitely drop some more information about that in the chat box if you'd like to know a little bit more about where that's coming from and find more details online. Also, here at UC Merced, we also walk the talk when it comes to being green. We were recognized as number 1 for the greenest college campus in the US and number 1 for the Sustainable Campus Index. We are very green here. You can see the pictures behind us that show some green spaces as well. Also, we do offer campus tours, so make sure you get signed up for one of those so you can see that in person. You can also learn more about our incredible rise in all of our rankings by visiting our great website, ucmerced.edu/accolades. One more time, we can drop that also into the chat box for you. And lastly, another quick reminder that you will hear us talk about all the time. Make sure you mark your calendars to meet that deadline for the admission application of November 30th. Very important date to remember. Put that on a Post-it in your phone, on your calendar, everywhere to remind yourself of that. All right, Ruben, let's jump back into some questions. Let's see what we have coming in here. All right, so I have a question about high school coursework. How do I complete that section?
Ooh, good question. I think for that, I may ask for you to be patient with us. I'm going to skip ahead. We'll spend a whole hour of doing nothing but helping you enter your coursework on November 7th. So just 2 Mondays from now. So add that to your calendar. Go to this QR code space, sign up for that webinar as well. You'll see these sessions as well as the sessions that we were just on. But yeah, we'll spend a whole hour going over how to enter not only high school coursework, but college coursework and all that fun stuff. Same application time, same application place on November 7th.
Yes, definitely take a moment to get yourself registered for those or catch the instant replays later on if you've missed anything in the past. All right, another question coming in. For the activity section, are they able to count their middle school activities?
Ooh, good question. And again, we'll spend lots of time talking about activities and awards. I don't know my dates, and now it won't let me switch back. But November 21st, lots of time talking about those. But quick question. It's probably best if you're a first-year freshman applicant to focus on activities and awards accomplished during your high school timeframe. That's what all campuses are going to give the most priority when reading your application on. So even though it'll be a few weeks before we talk about that section, start thinking about those activities that you've done while in high school. What I would say strengthen your application. Of course, if it's a critical, really important event to you, I'm not going to say no, don't list it. But things in high school are definitely going to be I would say more important to list than things that were done in elementary school or middle school. For you community college applicants or transfer applicants, events that you've done in college, very similar thing. The events you've done in college we're going to look at kind of with higher priority. But of course, if you have activities you've done in high school, we would look at those as well. But you want to focus on listing activities you've done while in college first. Then maybe if you have space, events that you've done in high school.
Very good. I do see a few financial aid based questions coming in. I will go ahead and ask one of them here, but also just a quick reminder, we did actually host a financial aid event just a couple nights ago. So that replay is available on that website. So we can drop that also in the chat, but we also dropped the link to that same site earlier on in the event. So you can scroll up and click on that to not only get registered for upcoming events like you see on your screen, but also to watch those instant replays. This one here that we might be able to help out with, does UC Merced offer help with financial aid to undocumented students?
Yeah, one of the first steps for that, which they probably talk about in that financial aid webinar that Ricky was just talking about, is the DREAM Act application, the California DREAM Act application. So I know a lot of people, even me by default, we just say FAFSA, FAFSA, FAFSA. But as an undocumented student or undocumented family, you most likely would be applying or filling out and submitting the California DREAM Act application. If someone can maybe grab that link real quick, Amy, if you're quick, throw the DREAM Act application website in. Yeah, I'm definitely not a financial aid expert, so that's as far as I know about the DREAM Act application. I apologize, that's the one that you'd probably most likely be filling out.
Definitely spot on. Thanks, Ruben. But I highly recommend everyone go back and watch that presentation from just a few nights ago. And if you're getting in there and it's not making sense or it doesn't seem like it applies, just fast forward a bit. There were about 40 plus slides. So you'll eventually see things that may be able to help you out there. All right, next question. This one has to do with transfer. What is something that can set a transfer student aside on some type of application? What is something that they can do that will set them apart?
Ooh, I would say the best thing to set yourself apart from all other applicants is reviewing each campus's transfer selection requirements for the major you're interested in and completing those courses. Most campuses in the UC system, including us, that's going to be a majority of your application review, is just making sure you're meeting those selection courses. So Amy, I'm going to challenge you one more time. If you could maybe pull up the transfer selection website for our campus. It'll list every major and what courses we require for admission to whichever major you're interested in. Being prepared for your major is going to set you aside from most applicants, because most transfer applicants do not realize that that major preparation is such a key component, and they're focusing on GE requirements. So focusing on the major requirements is going to prepare you the best. Other than that, like I said, just activities that you're doing while in college, even if it's sort of activities connected to your family and your home, right? So maybe instead of being involved in clubs and organizations, you have to work to support your family. So any sorts of those types of activities, whether it be connected to school, your community, your family, would help as well. So major preparation is key on that website that Amy just posted, transfer requirements. Other than that, just whatever activities you can do outside the classroom would help as well.
Very good. And our next question. I have a legal guardian and do not live with either parent. Do I need to submit my guardian's financial information?
Yeah, if they're a legal guardian, then yeah, you want to list their information as well. Not sure if it uses the legal guardian thing, but again, for those that might have come in late, you really want to be familiar with this help section up here. And again, I'm going to jump to the your household information area. If you click help here, you get lots of different topics that may or may not cover what you're asking for, but I would definitely read through those. Yeah, if they are your legal guardian, I thought I saw a question here that indicated as such that that's who you would want to list, but now I'm not going to be able to find it now that I'm on the spot. Yeah, legal guardian, I would say, would replace your actual parents' information.
Very good. And the next question also has to do with transfer students. Is having a gap year, does that look bad?
No, gap year does not look bad either for freshmen or for transfers, I would say, no matter what type of applicant you are. For first year freshman applicants, gap year means that you did not attend school during that year. So I want to be clear about that. You are going to need to explain your gap year though. So if the application notices between the year of your high school graduation and the year you're applying for college, or the year that you finish community college, and the year that you're applying for undergraduate program at the University of California. It will ask you to explain what you've done during that gap year. My word of advice is be very clear to us that you did not enroll in any courses at college, university. So I would use those exact words. I did not enroll in any courses at college, university. And then tell us what you did, right? You were working for the year. You had to take care of family. You decided to travel. Whatever your gap reason is, just explain that to us in that required section when it pops up. But no, not bad at all. We definitely have lots of applicants that take a gap year to do various different things.
Perfect. Thanks, Ruben. And we are getting closer to wrapping up. So let's see how many more questions we can get in here. If I'm taking a class at my community college in the summer after being admitted, can that class still be transferred?
So summer after you've been admitted, yes, for first year freshmen, that would be okay if you enroll at a summer session at a community college or another college before you enroll here and directly after you graduate high school, that's fine. For transfer students, it's typically fine as well also, but you want to make sure that that's not part of your required courses. So all your required courses for your major, you want to make sure are done at the end of the spring semester. All your units are done by the end of the spring semester. So 60 units if you're applying for junior. And if there's just an extra course, maybe to finish your IGETC or finish a GE or something that's not required for your admission, then that's typically allowed as well.
Very good. The next question, if you plan to become a pediatrician or pursue that career in healthcare, what major would be the best one to select?
Oh, yeah. I'm going to test Amy again. Amy, I'm not sure if you have the URL quickly for our pre-health advising newsletter and such like that. But I do recommend going to various campuses and maybe looking at their pre-health advising websites. Most of them will probably say that there's no major that's better than the other to get into healthcare, or pediatrician for that matter. You can study psychology. I've met people that study English and still get into medical school. So really for your undergraduate program, it's going to be what you like to study. As an undergraduate student, you'll of course still need to take all the courses required for medical school or pharmacy school or law school or whatever you decide you want to do after graduating. But any major, especially I would say at the University of California system, not just Merced, any major can help prepare you for any of those professional programs that you're interested in doing, regardless of major.
Very good. And one more here about majors. Is it true that UC Merced will not look at the major we choose while looking at the application, and that majors that they choose will not affect the chance of getting accepted?
If you're applying as a first-year freshman, then that's true. Yep, we are not looking at the major you've selected when looking at your application, your freshman application. We're looking at all the other information you provided to us to see if we want to admit you, but we're not looking at your major. That doesn't mean that you'll be admitted undeclared. We still admit you to the major that you selected, but we're not paying attention to that when reviewing your application. For transfer students, it does matter. As we just, Amy, a few questions ago, linked the transfer selection requirements there. So your major does determine what courses we're looking for in your application to admit you. So transfer students, yes, we look at it. It does matter. First year students, we're not looking at it. Major doesn't really matter at the time of your application review. It may matter later on in terms of which advisor you get placed with and other things, but admissions wise, we're not looking at your major.
Very good. Well, I think with that, I know we still have some other unanswered questions, but we were getting through those as quickly as we possibly could. So Ruben, I'll give you a quick second here if you'd like to give any last words of advice tonight, and then we will go into a little bit more info for our students tonight.
Oh, and I did not move the application over, so you all are missing the slide things. Thank you for joining us. Again, we'll be here for the rest of November 7th, 21st, and 28th for this same sort of ask your questions. When it's not our very first one of the season, maybe we'll even let you unmute your microphone a couple times or something to ask your questions live. But there's this schedule for the rest of November and what we'll be talking about at these sessions. And then of course, scan that QR code, look at the rest of our events, PIQ webinar next week. with some great team members, and of course, different advising sessions. Iona, jump on and correct me if I'm wrong, but I think these advising sessions are maybe more kind of one-on-one, get your specific questions answered and such like that. Not sure if you want to jump on and talk about those. Sorry, that wasn't planned, Iona. You don't have to.
Hi, everyone.
But lots of help.
Correct. The UC application advising sessions offer a group and one-on-one setting for you to meet with advisors.
So again, Merced, we're here to help answer your application questions, so don't feel like you're alone. And then of course, there's always the Santa Barbara webinar videos that you can watch on your own time. They're like 5, no more than 10 minutes long, that talk about each section. So that's great help as well. And then of course, the application center, if you have questions like payment or anything else. Nice thing about them is that they have hours that are outside of our normal business hours. So you can always call them and see what help they can provide as well. So don't feel like you're alone during this session, and we will see you on the 7th for the next session. Thank you, Ricky.
Yes, we will. Thank you so much, Ruben. And everyone, hang on for another quick minute or so. I do have a couple important things to share with you. One, if you are interested in that BS to MD program, listen up. Grab your pen, and hopefully one of my colleagues behind the scenes can drop this information into the chat for you. We have a BS to MD email address. So if you do have additional questions, if we didn't quite get to those tonight, you can go ahead and jot this down. It is just like it sounds, Prime Plus. You spell out the word plus, so Prime Plus at ucmerced.edu. And again, that's if you have more questions about the SJV Prime Plus BS to MD program, and we can get that over to you in the chat in just a moment. And just a couple other things I do want to let you know. Actually, I'm curious if anyone, do you guys know what sets us apart at UC Merced? Our UC Merced majors, do you know what actually sets us apart? I can share with you that it is our interdisciplinary nature, and it allows you to gain diverse skills and experience, and it actually empowers you to graduate with a very wide breadth of knowledge that you can apply to a variety of different careers. And as a growing university, our programs continue to expand and add new areas of emphases. We are super excited to share with you tonight, and you may have already heard that we actually have 2 brand new majors for our first year students coming in the fall of 2023. Those new majors include electrical engineering and writing studies. We're thrilled to have those joining our menu of options for students in fall of 2023. Also, quickly, while you do peruse our majors and minors on our website, you will also get a great chance to discover our online career finder tool. There is so much jam-packed on our website. We definitely would love for you to take a moment and check that out and really explore UC Merced and see why we would be the best campus for you. You can take a look at our website at ucmerced.edu. And of course, as mentioned earlier, mark your calendar for November 30th. That is the admission application deadline. We want to make sure that you get that application in. Definitely mark UC Merced as an option. And lastly, if you have not yet taken a visit to our beautiful campus, you can also do that 7 days a week. We have expanded our hours and days so that you have a chance at your convenience to stop by and take a quick tour. We can also drop that into the chat so you can take a look at that and get yourself signed up. And lastly, we have brand new social media accounts. The TikTok channel, it's at Life at UC Merced. Go ahead and take a look there. We continuously post new videos there, as well as our Instagram, our Facebook, and our Twitter pages. So definitely stay in touch with us that way. A lot of great information coming at you tonight. Thank you so much for being here with us. Thank you, Ruben. Thank you to all of my colleagues behind the scenes. We definitely hope to see you again very soon. We have lots more events coming up. So take a look at that website and get registered, and we will see you very soon. Have a great night, everyone.